Hi guys, I'm sorry I can't be with you today. I've had a fever for the past a few days and went in for the COVID test. I did test negative for that and the flu, so now we're just waiting to find out what's going on here exactly. In the meantime, I want to go through my lesson for today, which really is just a continuation of what we were doing when our whole class met last, which I believe was Monday. So on Monday, we were kind of working through our discussion on the relationship between the media and politics. And I know that's sort of a broad term, but recognize that there is a relationship there and that both sides, both the media and politicians, utilize one another for mutual needs. So I had promised you the Obama bowling ad. It is posted here. I'm going to have you scroll down to what's posted as Friday's lesson. I'm in Google Classroom, which is just you wrapping up the media. And what I did is I created basically a hyperlink document or hyperdoc. And the intention behind that was to show you all these clips or links that I would have shown you in class anyway. So I set it up as an assignment just because I was hoping that you would give me your feedback about what your takeaway was. Um, so next, sort of on our lecture slide that we would have had was this concept of a sound bite, and a sound bite is a anywhere between like 7 to 20 second audio or video that is used to take a message and to carry it out to a broader audience. So oftentimes politicians will plant sound bites in their speeches. They do that very intentionally, and it's a signal, like they're signaling to media, like, hey, pick up this line, it's a really important one. Um, Other times, the media will pick the soundbite for them. And I have that here as a situation in our hyperlink. The link, which I'd like you to click on, will take you to a very famous soundbite. This one is a little longer, but usually when it is shared, it's just tailored down to the moment, which you will know what it is when you see it. um, but it's nicknamed the Dean Scream, and you will understand this from here on out what the Dean Scream is because you've seen this video. Very famous soundbite, and many have hypothesized that this soundbite ruined his career and his potential for ever running for president again. So please feel free to make sure that you spend some time looking at that one. The next item is an example of a media event that went wrong. This is a famous story about Michael Dukakis, who was a Democratic candidate in 1988, who decided that it would be a really good idea to ride around in a tank to prove that he knew something about the military. And so this is an 8-minute video kind of explaining the whole setup as to why the decision was made to do this and sort of the long-term effect of making a campaign ad like this. Then I have a series of ads that I really want you to watch. Watch all of them, please. These are ones that I always show in class every year in AP Gov, and normally we would talk through each one of them and what the purpose is of the ad. So as you look at the ad, please think about what it is that the politician who is running for office is trying to get you to feel as you look at the ad. So in the very first example, you have Lyndon Johnson in 1964. This is a very famous ad called the Daisy Girl ad. You have Richard Nixon in 1968. He's running for election. I'm sorry, it's not 1968. This is 1972, not 68. So in 1972, he's running for re-election against George McGovern. And he's using a variety of imagery to make sure that you understand where McGovern stands on defense. 1984's ad by Ronald Reagan called It's Morning Again in America is a very famous ad. It's why I'm trying to give you all the famous ones here that you really should have some reference to. It's oftentimes used, and I saw examples of it used here in the 2020 campaign by both candidates, trying to harken back to this 1984 It's Morning Again. 1988's ad by George H.W. Bush about Dukakis on the tank. It's why you watched the 8-minute video previous. The 1988 ad by George H.W. Bush about Willie Horton is, again, very significant, speaks to crime reform. And you will hear this referred to in the modern era as we talk about this concept of law and order in American society still in 2020. I added the 2004 George W. Bush ad of John Kerry windsurfing. One, because it's local. He was actually windsurfing in Hood River. John Kerry had oftentimes been poked fun of for being an older candidate. And I think at that time he was in his late 60s. And so he was a very active man, and he went out and windsurfed in at Hood River, and you'll see how George W. Bush used that against him. And then lastly, I've added 2008 and the Yes We Can. The Yes We Can ad, I think in many ways has forever changed the nature of political ads because it was created as an internet ad, which by 2008, many Americans were mostly online at this point in time. And so we see the development of internet ads, which meant that as an internet ad, it wasn't limited to a 30-second spot on TV. It didn't have the type of commercial like cost that an ad would have if it were going to be played, on ABC, CBS, NBC, etc. So as a result, it could look a little bit different. I really, really want you to think about this ad and the significance of what the Obama campaign is trying to do with this ad. So it is lengthy. I do want to give you a heads up on that. It's a 4-minute ad. So know that you don't need to watch all 4 minutes. I think if you get about 2.5 in, you see where the ad is going. So when you're finished kind of watching all of these hyperlinks here of the soundbite, the media event, and the campaign ads, I just really want you to identify your takeaways about what you've learned about the relationship between media and politics as we've looked at these 3 lessons. Please don't forget that you also have some other assignments that are out there looming. We will start on our election series on Monday about so you want to be president. That's what I call this next part of our lesson. So you want to be president? Don't stress too terribly much about the campaign finance stuff. You guys have all next week to work on that, but you really want to get the section on primaries done by early next week, so it makes sense to you. Okay. I wish you well, and please don't hesitate to ask questions as you have them.